Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering Fani Willis ordered to leave Trump case or fire her boyfriend. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Judge McAfee has made his decision. He's made it clear that either Fani Willis and her entire office is completely disqualified from the Trump Georgia case, or she needs to fire her boyfriend, Nathan Wade. Is it a fair decision? Is it a right decision? It's a decision. If he had her removed, she could have appealed the decision anyway. Better to separate her and Nathan Wade, which I think actually ruins the entire case anyway. Let's get into it. From the Washington Post, Fani Willis can remain on Trump Georgia case if special prosecutor Nathan Wade steps aside. And by stepping aside, that means he has to leave the case. No more tons of money for basically what looks like no work for Nathan Wade. The judge overseeing the Georgia election interference case against former President Donald Trump and his allies rejected an effort to disqualify Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the case over a romantic relationship she had with the lead prosecutor she appointed. We also found later on that she seemed to be lying to the court, also seems to have pressured a witness not to testify, also seems to have interfered with the investigation, made threats of criminal prosecution that were completely inappropriate to Jocelyn Wade, the future ex-wife of Nathan Wade. But the judge kind of let all that go, being satisfied with just separating Fani from Nathan. In a 23-page ruling issued Friday, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee wrote that defendants failed to meet their burden in proving Willis's relationship with special prosecutor Nathan Wade was a conflict of interest enough to merit her removal from the case. But the judge also found an appearance of impropriety and said either Willis and her office must fully leave the case or Wade must withdraw from the proceeding. McAfee's order is a legal victory for Willis, who maintains control of a historic criminal case against the former president and his allies that she began investigating more than 3 years ago. Of course, she also cooperated with the January 6th committee. It's alleged she cooperated with Jack Smith. It's a ridiculous situation of double jeopardy. President Trump is probably immune from this case. Those motions haven't even come up yet. This case is complete garbage. It looks to me, the way I saw this case, like the whole purpose of this case was to interfere with the 2024 elections for Donald Trump and allow Fani Willis and her boyfriend to essentially steal a lot of money from the Fulton County taxpayers. They did get a lot of money. They went on a lot of trips. And I'm sure if there were more investigations into more details of what they did, we would find additional money changing hands in some way or another. Going to Belize does not mean you're going there to commit crimes. However, from InsightCrime.org, the state secret Belize's money laundering regime. Since the country's currency is conveniently pegged to the US dollar, Belize also offers non-residents the opportunity to run offshore accounts. Money laundering has become a prime form of funding for many criminal organizations. As a result, the United States Department of State has named Belize one of the world's major money laundering countries. They go on to say, as previously cited, Belize is a hotspot for the illegal activities of creating, storing, and disguising offshore financial accounts. It's also very easy to get dual citizenship in Belize, and with Nathan Wade traveling to Belize, as well as questions of why is Nathan Wade taking his payments from Fulton County and putting it in a trust account, which doesn't appear to be appropriate. In addition to why is Nathan Wade splitting the revenue that he's deriving from his cases with other attorneys that are not actually working on the cases? We don't have an answer for any of that. It's all just speculation. We may never know anything about that, but the interruption of the relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade means their financial transactions, whatever they were between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, are not going to be able to continue. She has no justification to write checks to Nathan Wade or any of his other shady partners anymore. And if you think that's not a big deal, it's a very big deal. Fani Willis's tawdry diversion in her case has come at a personal and professional cost to Ms. Willis, as embarrassing details of her personal life and romantic relationships have come under scrutiny inside the courtroom where she'd hoped to put Trump and his co-defendants on trial this August. And now Fani Willis has zero chance of bringing this case to trial in 2024. Less than zero chance. Quote, "You think I'm on trial? These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020, Willis declared during a fiery February 15th appearance on the witness stand, where she was questioned about the allegations. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial. But even allies of Willis fear the case against Trump could be irreparably damaged, with Willis's actions having undermined public confidence in the prosecution. And the claims against Willis are unlikely to go away, especially in the public realm where she's already faced personal attacks from Trump and his supporters. On Wednesday, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signed legislation creating a state panel to investigate and potentially punish rogue local prosecutors. Those are the Soros DAs who are, quote, progressive, who don't like to prosecute violent crime. While Kemp spoke of it as an attempt to combat violent crime, Republican lawmakers have already indicated they plan to investigate Willis. A separate Georgia Senate committee already has launched its own hearings into the allegations against Willis and Wade, issuing a subpoena for records and hearing testimony from the lawyer who first raised the claims. It will be interesting to see if they subpoena Nathan Wade. He does seem like he lies a lot, but even so, he may have to produce documents. They may look into the work that he was actually paid for now that he's definitely off the case, because that's what McAfee said. Wade is off the case no matter what. Fani Willis can't keep her boyfriend on the case anymore. So all of the payments to Wade, if the Georgia legislature wants to pursue Nathan Wade and get information from him and ask him detailed questions, no longer does it interfere with an ongoing prosecution. No longer does it interfere with an ongoing trial, because Wade, as of today, is absolutely off the case. Even if Willis said, no, I won't take Willis off the case, her entire office would immediately be disqualified. That was McAfee's decision. McAfee's decision comes more than 2 months after Mike Roman, one of the former president's co-defendants who worked on Trump's 2020 campaign, claimed in a court filing that Willis and Wade had been involved in an improper, clandestine, personal relationship that has financially benefited them both. Roman's lawyer, Ashley Merchant, claimed Willis may have broken the law by hiring Wade and then allowing him to pay for vacations across the world with her that were unrelated to their work on the case. Roman's filing, which offered no proof to substantiate the claims, called for the prosecutors to be disqualified and for the charges against him to be dismissed. Willis and Wade later acknowledged a romantic relationship in court filings, but denied it tainted the proceedings, testifying under oath during an evidentiary hearing on Roman's disqualification motion. Both insisted the relationship began months after Wade's November 2021 hiring and ended before the indictments were issued last August. Both claimed they had not deliberately concealed the relationship, but had not openly discussed it either. Quote, our relationship wasn't a secret, it just was private, Wade testified. Nathan Wade, that's this guy, strongly denied that Willis had financially benefited from his role on the case. In sworn testimony, both admitted they had taken several trips together, but that they had equally split travel costs. Wade testified that Willis often repaid him in cash for tickets and other expenses he charged to his credit card, though he said he did not deposit the cash and he had no record of those reimbursements. Well, that sounds suspicious, but they got away with it. Quote, if you ever spent any time with Miss Willis, you understand that she's a very independent, proud woman. So she's going to insist that she carries her own weight, and she's got a lot of weight to carry. But Merchant accused Willis and Wade of lying. She called 2 witnesses to the stand to rebut their claims, including Robin Bryant Yurdy, a former friend and co-worker of Willis, who testified that she had no doubt that Willis and Wade began dating in late 2019, shortly after they met at a conference. Yurdy also offered that she saw them kissing and hugging together like they were in a romantic relationship. We all know what that is. Merchant also called Terrence Bradley, a former law partner of Wade's, who claimed would testify that Wade and Willis began their relationship years earlier than they claimed. Text messages presented in court suggested Bradley had been a key source as Merchant investigated rumors of a dalliance between Willis and Wade and that she'd asked him to read through her court filings on the subject for accuracy. But on the witness stand, Bradley repeatedly declined to answer questions under oath about what he knew about the romantic relationship between Willis and Wade. Bradley, who'd previously represented Wade in his ongoing divorce, cited concerns he might violate attorney-client privilege and could be disbarred. He told the court that he had no personal knowledge of when their relationship began, a claim he maintained even after McAfee ruled Bradley could answer some questions despite his privilege concerns. For those of us who watch this carefully, of course, Bradley was lying. Of course, they had a relationship prior to when she hired him, which doesn't even really matter. It was completely inappropriate. The judge is aware of that. But the bottom line is Willis and Wade no longer have this connection, and there's no way to send her boyfriend hundreds of thousands and ultimately what would have been millions of dollars. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see a detailed investigation into exactly what they were doing when they went to Belize, into exactly where the money is flowing from one account to another account. I don't think those investigations are going to happen. But the fact that Willis and Wade now don't have this connection of working on the case together anymore means that money won't flow to Wade, which means to me, money won't flow to Willis. Something wasn't right there. Prosecutors later questioned the motives of Bryant, Yeardy, and Bradley, portraying them as disgruntled former friends and co-workers who have malice towards Willis and Wade. Prosecutor Adam Abate called their testimony vague and based on gossip, and said they offered no proof that Willis and Wade had lied. During closing arguments, Sato and other defense attorneys repeatedly told McAfee that he didn't need evidence that Willis and Wade's relationship had been an actual conflict, arguing the appearance of a conflict would be enough to disqualify Willis and her office because she had undermined public trust in the case. Quote, it puts an irreparable stain on the case. Harry McDougald, an attorney for the former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark, told the judge. Meanwhile, Sato and others seized on remarks Willis made during a fiery January 14th speech before a historic black church in Atlanta, where she accused her critics of playing the race card by questioning her right to appoint Wade and suggested racism was at the heart of the allegations. Willis did not mention any defendant by name, though she named other critics, including Marjorie Taylor Greene. But Sato argued the implication was that she was attacking Trump and others and argued the speech itself was enough to disqualify Willis. Quote, can you think of anything more that would heighten public condemnation of the defendant than alleging that defense counsel and the defendants were making their motion based on race and religion? Sato told McAfee. That's just bad as it gets in Fulton County. Abate argued the defense had not proved that any of Willis's actions had tainted the case. Quote, there's absolutely no evidence that the defendants in this case, their due process rights, have been harmed in absolutely any way, Abate said during his closing arguments. Adam Abate did an absolutely terrible job on the closing arguments. McAfee's ruling comes 2 days after he dismissed 6 counts in the sweeping indictment, including 3 against Trump, agreeing with defense attorneys that the charges did not provide sufficient detail. The counts related to allegations Trump and other defendants illegally sought to pressure multiple elected officials in Georgia to violate their oaths and work to overturn Trump's 2020 election loss in the state. But McAfee gave prosecutors 6 months to resurrect the charges by presenting the allegations to a new grand jury or through appeal. A Willis spokesman declined to comment on what the district attorney might do. She has no idea what to do. She's waiting to be told what to do. The judge's decision on Willis is almost certain to fuel political attacks in a year where he, Willis, and Trump are all on the ballot. McAfee, who was appointed to the bench in 2022 by Kemp, last week drew 2 challengers as he seeks a full judicial term. McAfee seemed to anticipate the attacks. Before he made his decision public, the judge sought to make clear that his ruling wasn't driven by political pressure, revealing in a local radio interview last week that he prepared a rough draft of his decision, quote, before I ever heard a rumor that someone wanted to run for this position. So the result is not going to change because of politics. I am calling it as best I can and the law as I understand it. No job is worth my integrity, McAfee said. Fani Willis should be under criminal investigation for everything that was admitted during these evidentiary hearings. Someone should be taking this up, but she is the district attorney, so it would have to be someone higher level than her, or it could be a federal investigation. A problem, though, seems to be that Governor Kemp, while he did just recently re-sign this law about overseeing rogue prosecutors, seems to have wanted Donald Trump to be on trial in Georgia. Legislators were asking Governor Kemp to pursue criminal charges, at least to pursue a criminal investigation into Fani Willis as all of these scandals started to come out, and he declined to do so. While Governor Kemp is a Republican, he's a rhino Republican. He doesn't support Trump. He doesn't support America First. And if he would have wanted this prosecution of Trump to end, he would have said or done something about it. At this point, the people that don't want Trump to win are so desperate, they'll do and say anything to try to stop him from winning in 2024. But I do think Trump will win. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.